The New England Patriots may be gearing up for some notable transformations as they approach the 2025 to 2026 season. Let's explore this matter further. There is a wealth of information being generated concerning the Patriots, even during the off-season, so staying updated is essential. Now, getting right to it, is Kendrick Bourne facing the possibility of being cut? It seems likely, and the rationale is worth examining. To start, his output over the previous year was not particularly impressive. It is common knowledge that he was recuperating from an ACL injury, which certainly hindered his ability to have a successful season. Yet, considering the wide receiver lineup and the opportunity he had to elevate his game, he needed to prove himself as the primary wide receiver. Regrettably, he did not meet these expectations and failed to show he could lead the receiving group. Consequently, when his performance waned, he found himself on the bench during a match in favor of younger athletes. A player entered the field, and while his impact was minimal, another emerging player gained more attention, and the more he played, the more effective he appeared on the field. Furthermore, another individual has demonstrated notable potential, moving past previous challenges and ready to add to the team's success. Some might argue that only a couple of aspects are relevant: his performance and the ACL injury. However, taking a closer look at the wide receiver lineup, which is currently under scrutiny, reveals a comprehensive depth chart that is quite striking. As of now, there is no practice squad in place, given that it is the off-season and the roster has not been finalized to 53 players. At present, there are 9 wide receivers listed. When analyzing the wide receiver group, it currently comprises 9 individuals. Last season, it appears they retained 7, which later decreased to 6. Evaluating this scenario, first, some players are likely to find themselves on the practice squad or face potential release. Observing those anticipated to secure positions on the roster, it would be surprising if they did not make the team. While this may come as a shock, there are clear candidates for the roster who generated interest and displayed significant potential last season. There is optimism that this new coaching staff will foster their development, shaping them into capable NFL wide receivers. Thus, they are expected to join the team. Another player also exhibited notable promise, and there is a belief he will be included on the roster. The leading wide receiver is certainly in the mix, along with another rising talent. Another strong contender not mentioned here is whoever the team selects during the draft for the wide receiver role. There is no assertion that they will be overly aggressive in targeting this position. It hinges on how the draft unfolds, yet there is a sense that they will pick a wide receiver at some point. It has been noted in prior discussions that it seems likely they will add one. This would bring the total to 7, complicating matters for Kendrick Bourne. Additionally, aside from his recovery from an ACL tear and the previous year's subpar production, he ultimately found himself benched. Another consideration is the cap space saved, as he had a guaranteed $5,500,000. Kendrick Bourne raises doubts, especially after suffering an ACL injury and failing to stand out last season, which resulted in his position among the reserves. Another important point is the cap space savings. He has a guaranteed contract of $5,500,000, and if cut after June 1st, the team could free up about $6,800,000 or $6,900,000 in cap space. However, there would still be dead cap, which should be around $2,800,000, representing the amount he will receive regardless of his situation. Therefore, this amount is not relevant within the overall picture. Over the next 2 years, he will receive $5,500,000 as base salary, regardless of the circumstances. Thus, the team is weighing whether to keep Kendrick Bourne or seek a new player, with the new player's contract likely being considerably smaller than Kendrick's. There is a possibility that they keep Kendrick for a period before deciding to cut him. This is a viable alternative, but the future remains uncertain. When observing the wide receiver group, it's clear that it is quite strong. Jackson and Giles, surprisingly, are emerging talents from college. One cannot guarantee that they will have an immediate impact on the league, but they show potential for growth. Kendrick Bourne, on the other hand, has reached his limit and is experiencing a career decline. Thus, analyzing Kendrick's situation, it is more likely that he will be cut before the 2025 season, and a 7th spot in the wide receiver group will likely be occupied by a drafted player, possibly one of the wide receivers from Iowa State, such as Higgins, or a standout player from Utah State with the last name Royals. The analysis points to considerable potential, but considering all these factors, including the serious ACL injury, it is important to remember that, while similar situations have occurred, the reality is that the performance may not meet expectations. Furthermore, if we examine his contract for the upcoming years, specifically for 2025 and 2026, the base salaries are $5,500,000, which are guaranteed. It's feasible to make significant savings, especially when evaluating his performance in games. His performance last year was unsatisfactory. He was benched during the game against the Bears, and in a game against the Rams, he had 5 receptions for 70 yards and a touchdown, which was undeniably his best performance. However, outside of that, there wasn't much to highlight. In the regular season, there are solid options like Hunter Henry at tight end. Demario Douglas, a promising young player, is also among the favorites. The situation with other athletes, who failed to generate relevant results, contributes to the dissatisfaction. Kendrick Bourne, who is no longer at his peak and is clearly on a downward trajectory, still outperformed these players. Some might argue that he indeed had better performances than some teammates last year. I acknowledge this point, but it is essential to consider that other players have far greater potential than Kendrick Bourne at this moment. Additionally, these athletes enjoy much more favorable contracts compared to Kendrick's. Therefore, when evaluating the situation, it seems the team will likely keep, most of the time, 7 players, with the 7th spot probably going to a drafted athlete, which suggests that Kendrick Bourne should be moved. There are comparisons being made regarding contracts, and when we examine the situation, it appears that the team is likely to keep 7 players, with that 7th being a drafted player. Thus, a departure of a player from the team is a concrete possibility. It's interesting to reflect on this, and, even with differing opinions, this is a viable analysis. So, think, will this player stay or leave next season? And, if he stays, which receivers do you think will make the roster? If a drafted player is included, feel free to mention that in the comments. Speaking of receivers, number 8 refers to a player who has been standing out, while another, currently wearing number 1, seemingly has no intention of giving up that spot. If number 1 is cut, I imagine number 8 will take over that role, but let's see how this situation develops. Remember, the draft date is quickly approaching, and the team has 9 picks. The 4th, 38th, 69th, 77th, 106th, 144th, 171st, and 2 more picks in the 7th round. Many exciting updates are coming for the team, and a busy day is expected, especially on the second day, when the first 2 rounds will take place. I believe much talent will be added, including a wide receiver. In the meantime, the story continues, and this is an interesting time to follow. Additionally, I'm in a different environment, away from my usual space, enjoying spring break. The experience is enriching, though allergies are posing challenges. Let's keep an eye on the developments. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors are swirling around the NFL like a late-season snowstorm in Foxborough. And this one is simply too wild to ignore. What if the face of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, were to swap his iconic red jersey for the navy blue of the New England Patriots? A scenario that once seemed unimaginable is now sparking whispers and heated debate across the league, leaving fans and insiders desperate for answers. Could Bill Belichick's legacy be rewriting itself with a quarterback no one ever expected? Insiders have hinted at increasing tensions behind the scenes in Kansas City, particularly after a grueling 2024 season filled with pressure, injuries, and questions surrounding the team's long-term financial flexibility. While Mahomes remains the cornerstone of the Chiefs dynasty, league executives are quietly speculating whether a monumental trade could shake up the NFL to its core. A potential move to the Patriots, who are aggressively searching for their next franchise quarterback, could signal a seismic shift for both franchises. New England, still recovering from the post-Brady era, has been scouting elite-level quarterbacks with an almost obsessive intensity. The idea of pairing Mahomes' talent with the Patriots' ironclad organization is tantalizing for both fans and analysts. Sources close to the situation suggest that Robert Kraft has been monitoring Mahomes' situation in Kansas City and is reportedly prepared to act should an opportunity arise. Could the Patriots front office be preparing a historic offer? Of course, the financial implications are massive. Mahomes is currently playing under a $503 million contract, a figure that would shatter New England's typical approach to salary cap management. Yet, with rumors of potential restructuring options and a shift in long-term strategy under new leadership in Foxborough, the possibility is not as far-fetched as once believed. Would Mahomes embrace the challenge of resurrecting one of the NFL's proudest franchises? One thing is clear, this story is far from over. Whether this is the NFL offseason's biggest smokescreen or a brewing blockbuster, the thought of Patrick Mahomes under center for the Patriots is electrifying the league. Fans on both coasts are holding their breath, waiting to see if the NFL's most decorated quarterback of the modern era is about to take the boldest leap of his career. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.